We're now in 1813. We started in 1808. That's the Napoleonic Wars. And essentially the Sharpe stories are the Duke of Wellington fighting Napoleon in Spain. I think one of the main reasons for Sharpe's success is that it is unashamedly different. We take it very seriously, the making of Sharpe. We don't take a cynical view that this is what the audience wants and we'll give it to them. People tell me how refreshing it is to have something different. Choosing the writer to adapt a series of books is a very, very tricky decision. And Owen Harris was chosen because he has a feeling for what I call the big screen. He has a feeling for the size and the scale of a big production. He has interpreted the Bernard Cornwell novels as if really they are John Ford books or John Ford films. And that's part of what we wanted. We shoot these films on Super 16. We shoot them in a widescreen format. We think of them as movies. And Owen is the man to write with a great sense of flair, a great sense of style, and also with a sense of humour.
At stake in Sharpe is, in fact, a struggle with the greatest dictator of his time in Europe. I mean, Napoleon is the Stalin of his time, the Hitler of his time. So great matters are at issue. I mean, that may not seem to matter, but that actually matters tremendously because it's very like the Bond films, except it's more real, in that the structure of a Sharpe film is like M, as in Bond, in the shape of Wellington, calls in his head of intelligence and gives him a mission. They then instruct or brief Sharpe, who's a bit of a sucker at this stage, is not fully in the picture, and he's sent off, and he's likely to get killed all the time. Now, the viewer likes the predictability of that. It's not that you're to do something new, it's to ring interesting changes upon that old great Western motif a man is writing out, like as in Unforgiven or Dirty Harry.
There's everything in it, really. There's adventure, there's romance, there's battles, you know what I mean? And it, you know, we're not making something, we're not expecting people to... We're not making the most profound thing that's ever been done. They're good stories. They're pretty simple stories, but they're good stories. And I think that's what, you know, people like to see. And it's set in the Napoleonic Wars, and nobody tackles that sort of thing these days.
I read the books, Bernard Cornwell's books, which are, you know, basically, I think, you know, they're great tales, great yarns. But what we have here, I mean, it's a war comic. I mean, it's guts and glory, and you know, to actually, you know, to put it all together, we work very, very quickly.
5-1, lads. What do you say?
It's 5-1 against us the first time they come, but after that, the odds turn in our favor. What do you say, lads? What do you say, lads? Yeah! That's my boys.
The producer has to be a very practical person, has to solve all sorts of problems along the line. But far more than that, as far as I'm concerned, the producer must be a dreamer of dreams. If you can't see it all through and visualize it, then you might have a good start to your production, but at the end, there's something will be lacking. And so I'm involved right from the very beginning. The excitement of being a producer is choosing what you want to do. Choosing the story, finding the writers, working on the scripts, finding the locations, casting, choosing your director. That's the excitement. And after that come the headaches.
Well, what I like about it is what any director would like about it, really. They give me all these toys to play around with. I've got soldiers, horses, guns, cannons. I've got marvellous locations. And they're good stories. They're rattling good stories, Bernard Cornwell's books. The schedules really are very, very tight because we get 30 days to do this. We have no second unit. Equally, you get 30 days if you're doing a Morse, you get 30 days if you're doing Touch of Frost, etc. But we got all the problems of costumes, of stunts, of guns which don't work, of horses which don't hit their marks, etc., etc. It's a very tight schedule, very, very tight.
Tom Clegg has been a great force and has more energy than I could ever muster or ever have had, and never sits down. Is a complete dynamo and has made the films what they are, I think.
He's brilliant, really. I mean, he's just like a battler. He just plods on and on and on, and he does it. He does the job that, like, they throw everything at him, throw a massive schedule at him, and he gets through it. Somehow, I don't know how he does it, but he does it, and he does it well. And I've got a lot of respect for Tom, because he never gives in.
The problem when you're working on a production of this scale is the inertia problem. You've got to arrive in the morning, you've got to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you've got a vast number of people sitting around here all waiting for you to make decisions. So I try to do a lot of homework in advance, and well, then I know what I'm doing when I come out on the floor. I mean, some of the shots we set up there will probably last about 2 seconds on the screen. 3 seconds, but you need them. And that's why you need so much material. As any action shot, any action setup only runs for a very, very short time. Otherwise, it becomes really boring.
Generally speaking, the more planning you do, the better. And the way we get through the number of setups a day that we achieve on this series is because it's planned very carefully in advance. All the locations are recce'd, all the shots are set up. We've all done it before, so we know the technique and the way that we like the scenes to work. Mainly, it's having a team that work together very well, and most of us have worked on this series before. And so it's like a reasonably well-oiled machine, and we walk in in the morning and have a pretty good idea of what we're going to do that day.
I've got a great team of Russian riders, and they're good riders, good stuntmen, good ones. And they've got to pull these horses into line very quickly. And if you watch them, you'll see the way they handle them. They just sit there and the horse plays them up, but they will just sit there and do the job. Extremely good riders. Second to none. I mean, they're as good as anybody. I mean, I've seen them do some really good stuff. In the Ukraine a couple of years ago, they worked very hard, did some beautiful jobs, fire jobs, explosions, fights, good riding jobs. And over here, they proved themselves time after time.
I can't speak too highly of them. They're a marvellous group of people. The speed at which they work, both the stunts and the special effects departments. To do similar stunts in England would take me about 4 times as long. They're not only fast, they're very visual, and you don't run into all the problems that you would do in England and other countries, whereby to do the smallest fall, you've got to dig out huge holes, fill them full of peat, put mattresses down. These guys just throw themselves around like they're into rubber balls. But their attitude is excellent as well, and they're very versatile. I mean, they can do everything from falling, from sword play, from horse riding. They're a very, very good group, and it's certainly paid off this year to bring them from Russia across to Turkey.
Oh, it's a good crew, an extremely good crew, you know. I mean, all the interpreter boys, we've got Giles there, he's an English boy, but he majored in Russian, and he's a main boy for us. I mean, he's great for me, because they're as quick as the Russian boys anticipate what I want. There's always that one time something goes wrong where I can't explain the colour of their tunic or something, or the dress, and he's there. That's the young boy. He's a very good boy. And they've got Sasha Flavatov. He's the stunt coordinator for Russians, and we get on very well. But there is always that odd occasion when it doesn't go right for me, so I need Giles.
This gun was revolutionary. It was introduced about 1800, and it gave an ordinary soldier, a common soldier, the facility on the battlefield to knock a man over, any man, with up to about 300 yards. Before that, there was a lot of lead flying around on a battlefield, but it was purely arbitrary whether you stopped one or not. In the early days, they were almost impossible to get. This volley gun was built especially for Harper, for the film Sharpe's company. These common muskets that you see in the soldiers' hands, nearly all mass-produced in India. These Baker rifles were made by a group in England, the 95th Rifles, and just loaned to the film so they could at least have a good Baker rifle in their hands.
Well, you've had your fun, Sharpe. But it'll be over in the next few minutes when the frogs come over that wall. Then you'll need a friend. I'll be your friend, Sharpe, but you're going to have to beg. Because they'll torture you. They'll torture you and they'll torture Ross. You'll be begging me to make them stop. And by God, I'm going to make you beg, Sharpe. What? What?
But to be honest, when I was asked to do this, although I'd done history at school, I was no expert on the Peninsular Wars. But it is a fascinating period. I mean, the first year I had no chance to read anything. It was purely arrive, do it. I had 1 week's preparation. But since then I've read a lot on history of this period. But then we're tremendously helped because we've got people like Richard Moore, our military advisor, and he can tell you what they had for breakfast, how they did their shoes up. He can tell you anything about that period. And it's tremendous value to us, tremendous.
Well, for the last 20 years, I've been what's called a reenactor. These are people that are so interested in periods of history that they can try and recreate it by using a personal character. And the personal character I had was Rifleman Moore, who is just a soldier in Wellington's army in the 95th Rifles, who serves through the Peninsular War and the Waterloo campaign. During the period of the Peninsular War, out of every 20 casualties in the British Army, only one was incurred as a direct result of enemy action. All the rest died from exposure, sunstroke, heat exhaustion, typhoid, dysentery, measles, and I could go on really, but only one out of the 20 died as a direct result.
It's of a gentleman soldier as a sentry he did stand. He kindly saluted a fair maid by the waving of his hand. So boldly then he kissed her and he passed it as a joke. And he drilled her into his sentry box wrapped up in a soldier's cloak.
I'm allowed to do the music for it as well, which is a real bonus for me, and I enjoy traditional music, and I've been playing traditional music for 25 years. So it's a good opportunity for me to sing from time to time and play the fiddle. Dominic Muldowney, who's my colleague on the music, is a classical musician, and between us we make kind of good cop, bad cop, sweet and sour. It's a good combination. I think it works for the show.
Over the hills and far away.
In Turkey, when the filming is finished, we send the completed film every 2 days back to London to the laboratory to be processed. In the old days, it would be processed negative onto film. Now we use computer electronics. It's all very sophisticated. We used to stick it all together with sellotape and cement, but now we just press buttons. And it's a very good process indeed for assessing what the work is and how the film can be assembled together. Putting the final soundtracks on, we call that dubbing, is a complicated process. On Sharpe, we have up to 100 separate tracks just to have the different sound effects for the horses' hooves, the battle sounds, clash of swords, explosions. We have 3 or 4 music tracks. We have all the different dialogue tracks. We're very proud of the quality of our location dialogue sound. That's the actors' voices speaking. And in the last 3 years making up the 8 films, we've had almost no need to re-record the actors' voices. We use the original sound, except in very exceptional circumstances.
You're all right. They'll be back. I'm getting too old for this. Let's see a die, Hagman. Too old, are you, Hagman? Hey.
Sharpe is very much a family. The people that make Sharpe belong to a family, and the family starts with those people who make it possible for the films to be made. And there were 1 or 2 special people. There's Bernard Cornwell, who wrote the books. There's Andy Allen and Ted Charles, who were at Central right at the beginning. And of course there's my partner, Muir Sutherland. And they had a fairly passionate belief that this series would work, and they stuck their necks out and supported the series from the very beginning. I think that any man still has that boy's own quest for adventure, inside you. You never lose that excitement. And when you read the Sharpe books, every page you want to turn over to the next page and find out what is going to happen. And the stories are very, very good adventure yarns.
Fashionable or not, everybody knows, ordinary people know, that these are the virtues, that's virtues like honour, courage, integrity, loyalty, are the virtues which cement our civilization together. And they're only missed when they're gone. And when they're gone, we really do miss them. Sharpe is not just a reminder of a world that's passed away, it's also a reminder of a world that in some sense has to be recovered if we're to live in a civilised relationship with each other.